Greetings to you wherever you are watching this. For those of you whom I have yet to meet in person, I'm Reverend Nicola Marsh, pastor here at Community UCC. And we see that people like you are watching our live stream each week. And because of this, we are excited to be embarking upon an experiment. And we need you. If you are engaging with us regularly, finding meaning in what we are about, we would like to extend a special invitation for you to be among the first CUCC digital disciples. For signing up for just $10 a month, you will receive a t-shirt with the new CUCC logo. And we are also exploring the idea of offering other content to those of you who are part of this new and growing area of digital ministry. Sign up to support us in this new way at cuccboulder.org/support by clicking on the yellow donate tab and noting you are a digital disciple in the instructions. Or as always, we welcome an old-fashioned check mailed to us at CUCC, P.O. Box 3646, Boulder, Colorado 80307. Thank you for being and building beloved community with us, and thank you for your gift, whatever it might be. Welcome again, everyone, on this Epiphany Sunday, and Happy New Year. It's good to be together like this. And today, 4 years ago today, I started with you as your pastor. And so you might know that I get nervous each time, which is why I ask that you pray with me. And when we added the live stream, that just made me even more nervous because whatever you say is forever recorded. So I appreciate you holding me that way. And I invite you now to let yourself arrive a bit more fully, to take some deep breaths, to give thanks for this day and the gift of being here together like this. Gracious God, may the words of my mouth and the meditations of all our hearts be acceptable in your sight, our rock and our redeemer. Amen. They were warned in a dream. More dreams, that's what we heard in that final line in this pericope in the Gospel of Matthew. And if you heard Jackie's wonderful message last week about dreams, you know how she lifted up dreams of all kinds of people and launched us into our own dreaming as a congregation. And so it inspired me to start a new sermon series on a new vision for an old faith. And each week we'll explore a new area. So thank you, Jackie, for launching us off on dreams and signs. From my earliest memories, I was the sort of kid, and am now the sort of person, if you know me well, who looks for signs. In nature, in dreams, in people I meet, experiences I have. Maybe some of us are more inclined in this direction than others, but I find meaning in interactions that others see as mere coincidences. I pay attention to things like numbers and names. And I suspect to some it's silly, but to me it's really about being open to direction, wisdom, possibilities coming from weird or unexpected places. To me, following signs is more about being open to things that don't necessarily make sense, but still they somehow guide you. And it's different for each of us. I was sharing this morning in our 9 o'clock, and I'm thinking about this because it's my anniversary here, that when I was discerning a call, doing a nationwide search, there were a couple churches I got close with, but it wasn't, didn't feel quite right. And I've been, oddly enough, guided by J's, people with J names. My first love, Jesus, high school boyfriend, Joe, college boyfriend, Jeff, true love, Jeremy. So I get a call from Stan from the search committee in July of 2018. And I was like, well, he's not a J. But then he said, the co-chair is John. And the moderator at the time was John Tilton. And the incoming moderator was Janet. And so I thought, all right, a couple of J's in there. And And also eights. Eights have been a sign in my life. And Jeremy and I were married on 8/8/8 at 8 p.m. And so I've often been guided by these things, and even silly things. When I toured the building, and this is really ridiculous, but I noticed the white Corelle ware. That's a sign. That's what I have at home, very practical. They have the same dishes. And I know these signs are different maybe for each of us. Our minds might conjure up something extraordinary, like that scene in the 1991 movie LA Story. Does anyone remember that one with Steve Martin? He's an offbeat weatherman. He calls himself the wacky weatherman, And he's going along with his life. He's not really that happy. He kind of fakes it on TV. But then literally a freeway sign. Does anyone remember this ridiculous? I can't believe the 90s were so long ago. How did that happen? This freeway sign starts talking to him. Like it blasts these lights, and then, he ends up having to pull over, and the sign, starts giving him messages. And the final message the character Harris gets, the sign says to him, "Sing doo-wah diddy." And, that's like a pop song of no real importance, but the message was presented as a sign from the universe telling him to stop living according to his critical logic in his head and to embrace the spontaneity of his heart. Well, I don't know about you, but signs haven't really worked quite that way for me, much less flashy, but still present. So in the Gospel of Matthew, as I look at it now, they were not just looking for signs, which they got, right? They have the star and the dream, but they were willing to respond, to follow. The sky was stuffed with stars, but there was one certain star that they responded to. As Frank Thomas wrote, the star for them is a sign, a wonder, but also a revelation, a guidepost, a traffic light, a tracking device, a GPS that brings them to the point of divine revelation. And what really stands out for me, I've read this story so many times, but what really stands out for me this year is that signs are useless if we choose not to respond to them. I don't know, maybe the universe keeps trying. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think the universe just keeps sending the signs? Or at some point, is it like, I'm moving on to somebody who will listen? And the other thing that really stands out to me this year in this story, when I read it, is that the star stops. Like, I never got that before. The star gets them to Jesus and to joy, in fact, overwhelming joy. But then we don't read of the star anymore. We read they go home by a different way because they're warned what could happen. So they take another route, a different direction, an unfamiliar path. And I wonder if part of what that means is that this time they didn't have that external guidance. They didn't have the star like they did before. As one scholar wrote, the star led them to the child, so they no longer needed the star because the function of the star was to bring them to the point of divine revelation. I really just hadn't noticed that before. I just missed it, but it feels kind of important. They got home without the star. Maybe it's like that footprints in the sand kind of thing, where I wonder if part of the story is that sometimes the stars, the signs we need, come from within our own bodies, our own hearts and minds, within the community of conscience and compassion. What if part of the answer for some of our journey is that the signs we are seeking, the stars we need, are here? I believe with my whole being that we are capable of being holy messengers for ourselves and one another, because we are manifestations of the sacred with the possibility of receiving insights from the other side, so to speak. We like to see ourselves as separate from what is beyond our understanding, from the mystery, from the divine. But we are simply different expressions of those same materials. This feels important to say, especially right now. I believe that each of us is something like an expression of the divine, of the creator, of the creative force in our spectacular and complicated variety of human forms. Because we humans are not also designed to be in awe of stars, but as we heard, we are actually stars ourselves. We are pieces of collapsing stars. Isn't that amazing? I love what Carl Sagan wrote: the nitrogen in our DNA, the calcium in our teeth, the iron in our blood, the carbon in our apple pies were made in the interiors of collapsing stars. The cosmos is quite literally within us, which means we are divine. And here's the beautiful thing: the way each of us has been created is unrepeatable. The combination that made each of you, look around, the combination of your atoms will never be like this again. You are literally sacred star stuff, a star burning bright in a way that will only burn here and now, like this, which means you can be stars for one another. And the beauty that is in you, the way you are put together, is just for this place and this time. So the truth is, they don't really get home without the star. They get home by bringing that within each of them, by being stars for one another. I have long loved the quote by the French Jesuit priest, scientist, theologian, philosopher, and teacher Pierre Teilhard de Chardin, who wrote, "We are not human beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience." Does that change anything for us? Would we treat one another any differently if we looked around and saw one another as something like God with skin on? It feels important to say all of this because it's clear to me that many of us grew up with the idea that the framework for the Christian life and Christian faith begins not at our worthiness or our blessedness, our sacredness, but with our sinfulness, our unworthiness, our separateness. And while I believe it is important to acknowledge our failings and shortcomings and our shadow side, I don't believe that is the foundation of our existence. Rather, these are human constructions designed to control and to make some feel superior. What if the foundation for our faith is our divinity, our sacredness? The way each of us has been created is unique and unrepeatable, sacred expressions of the divine. What if our call then is to see ourselves as spiritual beings, open to signs coming from weird or unexpected places, which sometimes means from one another? And what if this story reminds us that signs are useless if we don't choose to respond to them? And what if there comes a point in each of our stories where it seems like the star has stopped, but really it just moved into each human heart, into our own lives in a deeper way? Beloved of God, you are sacred. You are star stuff. The signs are all around. May it be so. Amen.
Greetings to you wherever you are watching this. For those of you whom I have yet to meet in person, I'm Reverend Nicola Marsh, pastor here at Community UCC. And we see that people like you are watching our live stream each week. And because of this, we are excited to be embarking upon an experiment. And we need you. If you are engaging with us regularly, finding meaning in what we are about, we would like to extend a special invitation for you to be among the first CUCC digital disciples. For signing up for just $10 a month, you will receive a t-shirt with the new CUCC logo. And we are also exploring the idea of offering other content to those of you who are part of this new and growing area of digital ministry. Sign up to support us in this new way at cuccboulder.org/support by clicking on the yellow donate tab and noting you are a digital disciple in the instructions. Or as always, we welcome an old-fashioned check mailed to us at CUCC, P.O. Box 3646, Boulder, Colorado 80307. Thank you for being and building beloved community with us, and thank you for your gift, whatever it might be.